Open borders, shameful abandonment, disregard for human life, the prospect of more mandates and lockdowns, and the list goes on. Now more than ever, we need to stick together. Voting alone is not enough. We must use our dollars to support like-minded companies that fight for our rights and build. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider who shares your values. Last year, we gave more than $500,000 to conservative causes. With your support, we'll give more than $1.5 million this year. It's time to band together and support companies that truly love America and fight for our freedoms. Will you join us?
Radio, covering the latest state and local issues with Tom Fallbush, Bob Scott, and Jim Waters.
All right, welcome to Kentucky's Voice. I'm your host today, or one of your many hosts today, Tom Fallbush, and we have a great program today. You know, there's so much going on in the world, and so we're just going to kind of cover everything from Kentucky to the Middle East to, just to your family to your to even Sharia law in Kentucky. I mean, so we're going to combine it all at the end with Sharia law in Kentucky. But we're gonna have a great show. So we've got Debbie Robbins with me today. Debbie, thanks for being on the show.
Great.
And we appreciate your contributions always. And we have Bob Scott as well on the Zoom TV thing, on the Zoom technology, the interwebs. He's on the interwebs with us. So so thanks for being on with us, Bob. And I wanted to start off with this controversial topic, and especially for me, you and Bob. We might end up ganging up on Bob on this one. So yesterday, Thomas Massey, he gets on the floor of the Congress and starts waving his flag about, hey, we need to do a war powers, vote on this, and all. President Trump can't just go to war without our permission, and da, 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 da. So he's out there pushing this this kind of stuff, and of course he's co-sponsored this legislation with a Democrat, in the Congress. So, which, I don't know. I'm just kind of like, I'm kind of getting over Thomas Massey. I'm kind of bored with him now. So I think he needs to move on. But anyway, so he's doing that. And so we get this war power push. But I wanted to point this out. Many people may not know this. There's a memorial here in Louisville at Southern High School. And I'm going to try to pull this up real quick. And it's of a colonel, it's a Marine colonel, right? Colonel, I think it's Richard Higgins, and he was killed in Lebanon. He was actually captured by Hezbollah in Lebanon in the late 80s, early 90s, and which, of course, Hezbollah is basically Iran, right? And Iran is basically Hezbollah. So the Iranians basically captured a local guy, right? Richard Higgins was he grew up in Louisville. He went to Southern High School, and he's our guy, right? And so they kidnapped him, they tortured him for about a year, and then they left his body on the road for us to find him. And he was a UN peacekeeper at that point. It was just they just did it out of maliciousness because basically it was a tit for tat kind of thing at the time. So I say all that, and the Iranians have been killing us for years. They've been killing us for years. And Americans have. Be quite honest, we've been kind of intimidated by the Iranians because of the whole hostage crisis in '79. It's like, oh, they're crazy, and plus they're so big, and they got all this oil, and so we've been kind of just been taking it on the nose from the Iranians forever, and they just kill us all the time, And
Yes.
so it's really kind of refreshing to finally see a president say, you know what, we don't have to tolerate that. We can end this. We can go and end this. And just like Nixon going to China, right? You'd only trust an ardent anti-communist to go to China and negotiate with Chinese communists, right? That was Nixon's going to China, concept. I can only trust an America first, no more foreign wars, kind of American president to actually execute a war like this in the Middle East. And I think that's the way we need to look at it. Trump knows that he doesn't want to do Iraq. He didn't want to do Afghanistan, So he's got a whole new war doctrine that seems to be working. folks.
Absolutely.
It seems to be working. Look at Venezuela. I mean, it seems to be working. So I've got to give Trump a lot of credit here. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I don't know. I mean, there's still a lot of risk in this operation. Everybody knows that. There's no end game that's plotted out very well. We just hope the Iranians rise up and throw out their people. But at the end of the day, we got to do something. These people were nuts, and they're trying to get nukes, and every day they're waving the flag saying, we're going to kill the great Satan and the little Satan. We're going to do it, and we've got nukes, and we're coming for you. What do you do in that situation? You just sit there and let them do that for 40 years and continue to kill you throughout. So I don't know. I'm very supportive of this war on that level, but I'm concerned like everybody else. And Thomas Massey, I'm kind of tired of him, and I'm
obstructionist.
I'm ready for him to leave. I don't just. We'll talk about this. Dan Crenshaw, who's another one of these sort of, independent-minded, anti-Trump Republicans. He lost his primary in Texas yesterday. What's that bode for Thomas Massey? We'll be right back. We'll talk about that.
Now, back to Kentucky's Voice Radio, online
Bring your
at
best Massey arguments.
KYVoice.org.
Yep, there we go. Oh, we're back on? Oh, great. Are we on the air? Great. That's good. Okay.
Welcome back to our fearless leader.
Welcome back to the crazy show we're doing today. Okay, so Bob, we're going to throw down here on Thomas Massey. I'm kind of tired of him now. I think he's too much of an obstructionist. I'll make this last thing I'll say. I'm going to give you all the floor. I don't think he's reading the room. I don't think he understands the existential moment we're in. We don't have time to play these libertarian, high-level, theoretical arguments, idealistic arguments in this very serious counter-revolution that Trump is trying to launch here. The country is about to go down the drain. Everybody knew that. We were fighting this Marxist revolution that took over the country. We've got to push that back, and it's all hands on deck. And to be an obstructionist right now is not helpful to the big picture, and so I'm just kind of done with Massey, and I'm starting to lean that way towards Paul. I like Paul a lot of ways, but he's kind of has the same instinct.
Well, he voted no yesterday also.
That's right, exactly right. So let me go to Bob first because he's the pro Massey guy here. Let's go, man. Let's go.
Well,
Your best defense.
There is honestly there is no easy answer to this because everything you said in the opening is true. The Iranians have been an existential threat to America and really the world since they seized power 47 years ago. The mullahs did. So I don't have an easy answer for this. I do feel it's critically important that we pay very close attention. I'll put it this way. I'm always going to back the military. I've got a son that serves. I have several relatives and friends that have served. And at the end of the day, I'm backing the military. And I know we're blessed to have the best military on the face of the planet. Does Thomas Massey frustrate me sometimes? Absolutely. Absolutely. He frustrates me, but and let me throw this in, Congressman Massey, if you're listening, I doubt you are, but if you are listening, what Tom was saying about reading the room right now, it's absolutely critical that we come together as a nation and as a state. I do appreciate your willingness to step out and say things that need to be said. But right now, we need to be joining hands and coming together for a time such as this. And I do think it's important, and that this will be my final word, Tom. I'll let Debbie have her say in this. It's critically important right now. Especially at just the opening salvo of what's happening. And I will say this, we know that President Trump is not the first president that's acted and done something like this. I mean, just about every president has done this at some point. It's important that we come together and show support. I still, and I'll say this too, I haven't always agreed with President Trump on things that he's done, but you know what? So far, his track record's been pretty good. So I am standing with our United States military, and I am standing with our president right now.
I am too, and I want our listeners, Kentucky's Voice, we want to hear your voice. 502-571-0970. Text us. What do you think about this? I'm going to tell you what I think right now. I'm at an age where I remember the hostage crisis that President Carter totally
botched.
Lost. Mm-hmm. And I remember those things. I've been around the military my entire life, mainly as a Christian singer, speaker, working for chaplains all over the world. Our troops are the absolute best, most incredibly trained on the planet. I voted for President Trump because he's an everyday man. Yes, he's a billionaire. So what? He's worked hard all of his life, but he's a person like you and me. He's been out here in the real world thinking, I'm sick and tired of the threat of Iran. I am. I know that I'm tired of them being in the back of my mind as a threat. Furthermore, I voted for President Trump because I trust his leadership. I trust the people that he put in place. They're extraordinary. Look at this cabinet. Look at this military. And as like Tom said again, to reiterate again, Thomas Massey, love your heart. You've got to learn how to read the room. When you walk into a place, you've got to learn to use your common sense. And you're not doing that. It's been very embarrassing. I appreciate everything you've done in your life and what you did for your community, but you are just an obstructionist now. And the same for Senator Paul. There comes a time where you have to put your idealism aside and you have to do what's best for the whole. And Iran is a very risky place, but those of us that are Christians, those of us that are believers, we understand what's going on here. And I know that our president, and I know that Pete Hegseth, and I know that Raisin Kane, they are doing their jobs. And I'm just not going to let people just absolutely complain for no reason. Do your research. I forget what you sent us, Bob, earlier today, the Jordanian woman who, with so many testimonies of people from Jordan and Iran who have been under the hands of this vile, vile dictatorship. It's time for it to end.
It's time for it to end, yeah. And the Iranians want it to end as well. That's what's so beautiful about it. Mr. Producer, go to this picture real quick. I wanted to show everybody the picture of the Colonel Higgins Memorial here in Jefferson County.
Oh, that's awesome.
Very poignant thing because this guy was killed by the Iranians. Here, this is a Louisvillian who grew up here as basically a hero. And there's another shot of him here with his nice picture of his photo from the military there. And then it's right there on Preston Highway, right there in front of Southern High School. If you grew up in this area, you know where Southern High School is, and that's been there since the 90s. And that's Iran doing that. He's killing our people, killing Louisvillians. And so I think we're about done with this. And
that's, you said something. We're kicking the can down the road. We've been doing it with every president since 47 years ago, and trying to deal with this situation. And it's now time that something be done. And go figure, it would be President Trump that would go ahead and get the ball rolling, because these people. And you also said earlier, Tom, these people are after our ultimate destruction. If they had, trust me, if they had a nuclear bomb, they would have used it on us or Israel. Right. Or for that matter, as we've been seeing, they've been bombing and throwing missiles at their neighbors what they could do here in the short term after we started this action. So
exactly.
It is time. It's got to come to an end.
But
we can't pay them off. Obama gave them pallets
Billions.
full of money. I mean,
Pallets full of
millions
money.
upon millions upon millions.
But let me get back to us here in Kentucky. All right, the viewers listening, and yourself, and Debbie, and we've got a decision to make our own here in the next few months. We've got a primary. We're going to be voting. It's either Massey or Galrain, right, if you're in that district. And so, and I'm just going to throw it out there. I think we're at a point now where people need to start coalescing around one or the other, and need to figure out why you are voting that way. And I'm not in that district, so luckily I don't have to make that decision, because it is a hard decision. Because I like a lot of Massey's instincts, I like his fight, I like a lot of his. He's very telegenic on TV.
I appreciate that we all know we're in debt. We get that, Thomas
I get it.
Massey.
Exactly
we
right.
get that.
Yeah.
But right now, this is critical.
That's right.
To get rid of this threat is going to help refocus.
And
one other thing I wanted to add
add
real quickly is our military has prepared.
Yeah.
They've been preparing since the minute they got back in office, or President Trump. They've been thinking through all these scenarios of all these things that we've seen unfold in the past 14 months, which has been historic and incredible, and that has been on our president's heart for decades,
That's right.
just like us. Things that have bothered us.
That's right, exactly right, and beyond just this war, we've got the Trump counter revolution that we need to support, and it's all hands on deck, and we have a margin thin majority here in the House, and
exactly.
so he's I think unfortunately taking that and taking advantage of that, because he knows that they need his vote so desperately so he's going to take this moment to showboat and make his ideals and his ideology, just push that out there, because he has his power to do that. So, but anyway, Bob, listen, you're in this district, so I'm going to throw it out to you. What are you doing? What are you going to do?
Well, we are getting some great comments.
Oh,
and,
that's good. Dodge right there. Ooh, dodge.
I'll share.
Dodge.
Massey is both the best we have and the remnant of what we have lost from America that doesn't exist anymore. We are a de facto empire now, and not a republic. Another comment here: he supports troops and their safety, talking about I guess the president, but no, we don't set aside the dialogue, never trust or fully support any politician. Another comment says, and I have to agree with that.
I agree with that.
And this comment, oh, Debbie, you're not gonna like this one. Debbie is wrong here. We want 10 times more deportation and no more American blood spilled overseas. Massey must win. All this said, I do understand the attack, but we want to first go to first things first. So good comments. Keep them coming.
Great comments. Keep them coming. Yeah. 571-0970, 571-0970, 502, of course. Want to hear your thoughts. We'll be right back on Kentucky Voice. Thomas Massey, yes or no? I don't know.
Are you ready to stand for truth? Kentucky is at a crossroads, and we need voices that won't back down. This is your moment to rise, speak up, and be part of a movement that's changing the narrative in the Commonwealth.
Out of here.
Kentucky's Voice is calling on bold citizen journalists, fearless editors, and those unafraid to speak truth in the public square. Volunteer, intern, contribute. Scan the QR code or visit kyvoice.org to join the fight. This is more than media. This is your moment. You are Kentucky's voice.
Back to Kentucky's Voice Radio, online at kyvoice.org.
God, Lord, I lift your name on high. All right, let's do that again. He came from heaven to earth to show the way from the earth to the cross, my debt to pay.
There we go. That is our own Debbie Robbins right here on the show with us. She is a worldwide, world-renowned Christian artist who spent her career entertaining the troops, encouraging the troops. That was her in Fort Knox in front of a crowd of about 1,000 or so recruits, and she had all of them standing and participating. It was just a beautiful thing. She sent me that video the other day. She's like, that is a really cool thing. So anyway, I just want to point that out. We're talking about a military right now. You've really blessed our military.
Thank
I just
you.
wanted to
I
highlight
love them. I love these kids. Oh my goodness, I love them. And I just wanted to say to the person who said they didn't agree with me, you're right. It's okay. I want thousands and thousands of more deportations and definitely not bloodshed.
Exactly right.
But I trust these great troops. They love our country.
So, Bob, we were picking on you in the last segment about what you're going to do, and because you got to vote, you got to pull that lever for one of these guys. So, I don't know if you're ready to divulge who you're voting for yet, but I know you're sympathetic to Massey, and I kind of get it. I mean, because we all appreciated his fight and his vigor.
Well, he's been who he says he is, a strict constitutionalist.
Yeah.
But
But you can also be an obstructionist at the same time. You can be a constitutionalist and obstructionist, and that's not a good
I'm
thing.
right now. I'll say this: I'm moving more towards being on the fence than where I was at even a week ago. To be honest with you. So, and again, I've got skin in this game. I've got a kid that's serving right now.
Right.
That's right.
And I'm watching and listening very closely to everybody right now. And I know President Trump, and I believe President Trump, he is committed to not costing American lives, even though sadly we know at least 6 have been lost so far, as a result of this. But you know what? My son and our daughters that sign up to serve the military know that this is always a possibility.
Right.
And that's why we honor them and revere them so much, because they're willing to go and pay the ultimate sacrifice in defense of our nation. And we are right now as a nation faced at a critical juncture, because we know there are sleeper cells. We've talked about it immensely on this program. I've had Scott Mann's been a guest on, probably one of the foremost experts on this on the show several times. We know there's sleeper cells right now in our country that would like to attack and take our beautiful republic down. So it is really critical that we coalesce as a people. I don't care. This is not a Republican Democrat issue. I'll say that right now.
Exactly.
This is an issue of doing what's right, for our nation. And ultimately, it'll be right for the world. So, we have to stand together. There's a lot of strategies here. And we don't have time to go into it all, because I know we got a lot of other stuff we want to cover, but there's a lot of strategies at play here.
Yeah. Big picture stuff, Bob. And to your point, I mean, it's really kind of a genius move. And you look at what Trump is doing geopolitically. I mean, he's coming in and he's rolling up all of our existential enemies, and he's doing it one by one, taking them out one by one. And, and you got to hand it to him. Trump's a man of action, and he sees, okay, we've got this chessboard here. It's called the globe. We've got all these people that are forming up against us. And you know what? We can do something about it. We happen to be a pretty powerful nation. We got economic power. We got military power, and a couple of these people right here in our neighborhood. Venezuela and Cuba. Let's just go ahead and do something about it, and we can. And so, it's just refreshing. Now, like I said this in the first segment. I trust him because he is someone that is anti-war by nature. He hates it. He doesn't want to see troops on the ground. He's the one that railed against the Iraq, policies and the Afghanistan policy. So you can see that in his approach. His approach is, we're just going to use air power, we're going to snatch and grab, or we're going to use our allies to go in and do the heavy lifting while we go in and do the surgical stuff. And it's moving the needle, and I kind of appreciate it.
I do too. And I say, he did not, because of the election in 2020. He's had 4 long years to think about, how am I going to complete my agenda?
That's it.
And when he made that decision to rerun again, believe me, I think this man has spent every waking moment. And if we go back decades, he has his whole life, like many of us, thinking, wow, if we were in this position, what would we do? So I have to believe and trust. I don't trust anyone like Reagan trust, but verify. Yeah. But goodness gracious, this president has verified over and over again that he stands by what he says and he does it. And I appreciate it. And we can fight many offenses. Listen, our Homeland Security people keep going after those illegal aliens. He closed the border so you can do that. And we as citizens, we need to speak up. 5710970. I want you to speak up, Kentuckians. We have a lot of issues that are concerning us, but you start local, it goes to the state, you go to the national. If we're not careful on the local level, then we get crazies running our country on the national level. We can't let that happen anymore. Yeah. But this president, And
you said something, Debbie, very critically important. Homeland Security, and by the way, the Democrats, the Democrat Party, once again, is playing the game of obstructionalism.
Exactly.
And they're not paying the folks that are in charge of watching our nation at a critical time. In fact, a text came in just a few seconds ago. It said, I stand with President Trump. He is playing the long game, steps ahead of the rest of the world. I trust him in his awesome cabinet. Prayers for safety, security, and success in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I had another text as well. It says, I trust Hegseth and Massey mostly. The only reason I can be okay with it all. So he does trust. Just echoing that previous text that you just read, that the cabinet, Trump's cabinet, he does trust, and Massey it's mostly. So I guess he's kind of questioning Massey.
And another texter said, sleepers are real. We were just talking about
Sleepers
that.
are real. Hey, let me say this. Last night,
some pie in the sky thing.
Here's the future. We only have 3 minutes left in the segment. I'm going to get to this real quick. So last night, Dan Crenshaw, which was he was kind of one of these Rhino McCain type Republicans out there. He lost his primary. He got primaried by a strong MAGA guy and lost it. So now that might bode bad for Massey. So I don't know. I'm really curious of what you guys think. Let us know who, if you're in this district. We want to know. You voting for Massey or are you voting for Gowrain, and why? I want to hear your thoughts, and hopefully we can get to that before the end of the show.
Yes, please text us 5710970. And may I go ahead and do these other announcements that Jim really wanted us to? Oh, yes, you've got a very important one.
We want to make this announcement. Kentucky's Voice, we are going to have a debate with the U.S. Senate Republican candidates. We're officially announcing this on we're announcing that we're putting it together. We haven't got all the pieces together yet, but we're going to do this on May 4th at Evangel World Prayer Center. We've invited all the candidates, all the top tier candidates. We have a threshold of criteria that you have to meet in order to be part of this debate, and that's either 5% of polling or you have to have raised $500,000 in fundraising. And so far 3 of those candidates have met that, and that's Andy Barr, that's Daniel Cameron, and Nathan Morris. We've invited all 3 of them. One candidate, Daniel Cameron, has committed to that. So we have him committed. We're waiting to hear back from the other 2 candidates, the other 2 campaigns. We feel like they will, because it's going to be 2 weeks out from the election. It's going to be an important debate. We're going to syndicate this statewide, and so we're encouraging the other 2 to participate. If not, we might just have a hour-long infomercial for Daniel Cameron if the other 2 don't participate. So, so I want to make that announcement. So we appreciate you.
That'd be awesome, and we want you there. We want you there. 5710970. We want you to come out and be with us on that night. Also, there's some other things going on in our community that we want to say. Elizabethtown, Hardin County Republican Party. Bobby Coleman is in charge, and call her at 217-240-4572. That's April 11th, Saturday, 11 a.m. They're having a candidate forum with their state senate, state rep, sheriff, on and on. Also, she's working on another one that will be a week from Saturday, March 14th. That's for Vine Grove in Radcliffe, Kentucky, and that's for mayor and city council. Come and meet the candidates. This is your opportunity. Call her at 217-240-4572. But again, May 4th, mark it down for us. And you know what? Go on Facebook and text these candidates. Say, we want you to be a part of our debate on May 4th. And we would love to have you there.
All right, we'll be right back after this break, and we've got a great guest, Kentucky legislator, who's going to be on the line with us, and we'll talk to him shortly.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Now, back to Kentucky's Voice Radio, online at kyvoice.org.
All right, welcome back to Kentucky's Voice. I'm your host, Tom Fallbush. Today, we're about to have a Kentucky state legislator on the line with us, so we're trying to get him dialed in now. It's Bill Wesley. He's put forward some really good bills here. One about banning Sharia law in Kentucky, which is, I think, very important. And you might think, well, this is Kentucky, Sharia law. Why you got to worry about that? That's kind of silly. We're a bunch of Americans. Mm-hmm. Well, look at Texas. I mean, look at places like Detroit, Michigan. Yeah, right. This is it's a real problem. I mean, and like individual Muslims, individual people that have Muslim backgrounds can be wonderful people. They can be great friends, and they can, but as a culture, as a group of people, when they coalesce, there are patterns, and there are tendencies, and there are ideologies that follow this group of people that unfortunately does not assimilate well with Western culture, right? It just doesn't. I mean, we got to be realistic. We can't be idealistic and just, pie in the sky and everybody can just get along. We're all the same. Well, yeah, we're the same on one level. We're all biologically the same. But when it comes to the way you view the world, there's big differences, and it's really important stuff at the end of the day. I mean, look at Europe right now. Look at England. Look at basically England. They're talking about basically having a civil war here pretty soon because they have such social strife between these large Muslim communities who don't want to assimilate, who don't want to become Western, and yet they're there in societies. And then the native British are going, well, this is crazy. These people don't even like us, and they're like a lot of them, and they kind of want to take over our cities and. And then well, I don't want to get into some dark stuff that's going on there too, like the rape gangs and all that. But that has nothing to do with Sharia law, but that's a major problem with just unchecked immigration from certain parts of the world. But back to Sharia law, we've got American law, we've got a Western culture, we've got a Western canon, we've got a Western tradition on how we deal with things. We don't need a foreign ideology, a foreign religion and a set of laws to come in and try to challenge what we're doing, or set up a subculture or a little alternative, legal system, which is what they're advocating. That's subversive. It's colonial, right? And if you're on the left, you're like, oh, we're anti-colonialists. Well, why are you letting a whole culture come over and colonize us? What's the
Right.
point? So
Can't do it.
So anyway, I think we might have Bill on the line. Is Bill with us? Bill Wesley?
Yes, sir.
Congress. Okay, great. Well, Bill, there we go. You heard my monologue of why Sharia law is bad, and I'm sure you agree on some level. But talk to us about this bill. So you put forth a bill, and what does it do? Just what is its what's its premise?
Well, so what we're trying to do is keep that out of the state of Kentucky, to put up guardrails. We didn't want to wade out too deep in that, but some of my grounds was based on, like, say, Governor Abbott, several governors. We got DeSantis down in Florida. They have done the same thing to try to keep that out. We couldn't specifically try to nail it down to say it was the Sharia law, but that is mentioned in my bill. And one of the reasons is what they're trying to come in our country, bring in their system over here, which is against our Constitution. What a lot of people don't understand is it takes away all women's rights, our children's rights. The Quran is to model after Muhammad.
Right.
And so, I mean, it tells us. So one of the things that they tried to bring in is the deception through believing in the Quran, that at all costs that they can lie to us to try to overcome us.
Right.
Now, they have made several statements that they are trying to do anything and everything they can to bring the United States down. And so I believe this is one of the ways that we can put a brakes on a lot of this stuff. And let me give you an example of what we have dealt with in the past when Biden and his administration let over 200,000 Afghans over here. So over at Fort McCoy, there was numerous of children, young girls raped and took advantage of. Now, this is documented. This is public record.
Right.
And so when they caught these guys, they asked them some questions. And one of the questions, why did you guys attack these young girls? And they said that they did not understand that there was that kind of law here in the United States.
That's right.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
And so they come here with their own laws and beliefs, their morals, their value, whatever it may be, based on the Quran.
Right.
And so they can attack our young people. They can attack our women. And there's no repercussion to it.
That's right.
And so this is one way. I mean, we got so many problems in this area.
Right.
And they try to base everything on freedom of religion. This is not a freedom of religion. This is a law. And, when they're cutting hands off of people or when they're beating their wives because
mutilating their daughters.
Yes. Amen. Yeah. And so we need to put the brakes on this. I ask for your prayers here in the state of Kentucky that we can get this bill heard. They're believing there's no need for it. But we have numerous of people here that is in the Islamic Muslim religion that they are trying to take place of positions of authority.
Right.
Like in Louisville, Lexington. This is the same thing what's happening in New York City, California. Right. I mean, we got states all over the place. We got recordings over 235 elected officials that are already in place in movement for this.
Yeah,
and they've already made statements. They want to overcome us. They want to implement these laws and their religion.
And when you say they, right, and so it's a complex issue, but it's not at the same time. It's complex in the sense if you look at every Muslim, do you consider them part of that group that's they are trying to take over? So you can say, no, this person's a fine person. They're not. But if you look at the culture overall, and they've done this, they've done polling of Muslims around the world and in the U.S. and they've asked just general questions. Do you believe Sharia law should be brought to America, or do you believe that all these things about whether or not they're basically radical or not? And there's such a high. We're talking 40, 50, 60% of the average Muslims agree with these very radical statements about culture, about politics, about how they want to change the societies they're in. And so this isn't just, you're not overstating this. This is just baked into that culture. And it's because it's part of the religion. And the religion is a political document as much as it is a religion. Yes. And so if we don't understand that, then we're just. And
that's, what's really funny about this, it's not funny. It's as misogynistic as you can imagine. Yeah. And you see liberal women in our country, liberal white women, standing up and protesting in favor of this. And they don't understand.
Ignorance.
They would be the first ones targeted.
That's right.
If they ever came into power. Yeah. And we've seen places in this world, did you know that at one point Lebanon was a predominantly Christian nation until the Muslims came in and didn't assimilate it. They gave basically an appearance that they were assimilating, but they really weren't assimilating. They were coming in and what Bill was talking about, starting to get into positions of power to where eventually, once they had power, as we saw in Iran, once they had power, they came in with the full force of Sharia law.
That's right. It took over.
May I ask a question, Representative Wesley? Thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it. And people, please text 5710970. This issue is critical. In my heart, I'm a woman. So really, this really bothers me. I want to know, you're all in session right now. What can we do? I really get very frustrated when I hear, the leadership is pressuring for this not to get to the floor, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, leadership. I am a citizen of this state. This is a very critical, dangerous issue, especially with what's going on in Iran right now. So please tell me, sir, what can we do to help you? This is brilliant of you to do this. Thank you so much. And like you said, it's only the tip of the iceberg. This is only one law that I want to be passed to get control of this. And of course, the illegals, get them out of here. They don't belong here. Yeah. And, what about these? Also, I want to know, so what can we do? Secondly, another thing, since you're in session, what bothers me is I'm scared of all the rings where they're getting these fake IDs, fake license, fake this, fake that.
That's right.
So these people think they can vote. Please help me know what to do. But I just want to give a call to the leadership. Knock it off. This bill needs to get on the floor.
Well said.
Yeah. So our leadership here is the ones that kind of orchestrates what bills are going to be heard.
Okay.
And if people would reach out to, our leadership here at the House and Senate, that we can get it pushed on both sides. I don't mind passing it on to someone else as long as it's heard and it's implemented in our law that we could put up guardrails here in the state of Kentucky. I did House Bill 30 a while back. That was no boys allowed in girls' bathrooms or locker rooms.
Yeah, good job.
I mean, who would ever thought we had to do that? But here we're in this time that we're doing that. So they had to approve it and to put it out there. This year, I just filed a bill a couple of days ago because I faced another issue. It was I think the last day of session of last year, I had a line of little girls wanting to use the bathrooms, and I had a mother reach out to me saying, "Hey, we got a problem here. There's a man in the bathroom." I said, "I'll deal with that right now." And so I dealt with that, and here's the problem. So we had that bill passed that was attached to Senate Bill 150, no boys allowed in girls' bathrooms and locker rooms. Ryan Dodson did a bill saving women's sports with Robbie Mills, the senator. And so here it is. It's an attack on our young people. But anyways, my point is
30 seconds left.
We fought that, and now we turn around and here the governor's having a rally and pushing this on our children. And so we got to take charge. We got to fight back. But they would be the ones that we would have to hear this.
There we go. Well, this is how you do it, folks. You rally around state legislators like Bill Wesley and help get their bills supported. All the work we do coalesces into a moment like this, where you put a bill forward and get it passed. So we'll be right back with
Guys, I'm sorry I ran out of time.
Kentucky's Voice is your home for real news, real people, and real answers. But we can't do it without you. Your financial support helps us bring truth to the forefront, hold leaders accountable, and give a voice to the people of the Commonwealth. Join the fight today. Give online at kyvoice.org or text KYVoice to 53555. Every gift makes a difference. Stand with us. Speak up. Stay strong. You are Kentucky's voice.
Now, back to Kentucky's Voice Radio, online at kyvoice.org.
Welcome back to Kentucky's Voice. We've got a great guest on with us right now, State Legislator Bill Wesley. And I always get it confused. I should know this. I'm in political commentary. You wouldn't. You're not a congressman. We don't address you
He's
as
our
congressman.
state representative.
State representative.
Which
There we
is
go. Okay, I
equal,
should know. Come on.
equal to congressman on the
this.
state level.
That's right.
It
Representative.
confuses me too.
There we go. So Representative Bill Wesley. Okay, I always forget the right.
And let me throw this in real
citation.
quick. He's also running for state senate.
Great.
Oh, I didn't
Over
know
there,
this.
which is going to expand his reach against another, dare I say, Rhino Republican.
Okay.
So Bill is truly one of the few men that represents the people of the state. I've known him for several years. I've been around him. I see how he works. We are, as a state, are blessed to have him in there. We need more Bill Wesleys in Frankfort.
That's right. Good
Well,
instincts.
let's help him out today with these incredible bills. And I want people to call before you guys get into the conversation again. 1-800-372-7181. Again, 1-800-372-7181. All you need to do is give them your name and address. They will contact your legislator. And when I send messages, I send it to all of them,
Yeah.
and especially to
Especially
the leadership.
Especially
Yeah, the
leadership. Yeah, we
leadership.
just had a text come in asking for that phone number, so we just answered.
So-
That was perfect timing. So great. 1-800-372-7181.
Yeah, 372-7181.
7181. Okay, that's great. So call that number and
372-7181.
support this Sharia bill. Support Bill Wesley's Sharia bill, and also now, Bill, you were talking about another piece of legislation that you were putting forward that had to do with transgender issues and bathroom issues and that sort of thing. And so, tell us more about that.
So I did the House Bill 30, which was to keep boys out of girls' bathrooms and locker rooms.
Right.
And then the last day of session last year, the governor has a rally for this stuff.
Yeah.
And I had a bunch of little girls wanting to use the bathroom. Long story short, so it came up, or you're going to have to file another bill to protect girls in government offices
government
and
buildings.
bathrooms.
Right.
And so I never thought that when we did the first bill. And so anyways, we went ahead and filed that bill for them people that wanted that. And I got probably about 12, 14 people that have sponsored that bill with me. If we can I got 21 on the banning of the Sharia law, which a lot of people would be on board for it. It just takes leadership of hearing.
What's it, Bill, real quick, what's that bill number? Because I know one of the folks texted in, asked the bill number.
Sharia law one.
Sharia law one, yeah.
I want to say 565. I lost.
We'll find
I
it.
had it right.
But we'll
before.
find it. Go
I had
ahead,
several
yes.
bills. I apologize.
We'll ask.
I know,
machine.
but people don't realize the number of bills that get introduced. It becomes very difficult to keep up with that.
Today, I just had meetings on House Bill 67, Senate Bill 4, 101, 114, Senate Bill 95, 98. I mean, it goes on and on. And so all these numbers, I apologize not knowing my own bill off the top of my head about the Sharia law.
Yeah.
But anyways, they will know what bill that is. I ask for everyone's help if they want to see this get implemented in the state of Kentucky.
We do.
And not only that, but the protection of our kids and women's rights. So in my bill that is protecting not only the children, but the women's rights. We hear a lot about this, that say if you go to work one day and you complain that a transgender, a guy with a mental issue, come in to the opposite sex's bathroom and invaded your territory. All right. So now you are at jeopardy of losing your job because you complained and you went to HR. You see what I'm saying?
Goodness.
So this protects the whistleblower, those that was complaining.
That's right.
And I believe that there should be guardrails up, protection. No man should be going into our women's bathrooms, period.
That's right.
There's no compromising in this. This is my argument last year. Now the governor and them are, some of his team's upset with me. I really don't care about that. My protection and my main fight was them little girls that was wanting to use the bathroom. Yeah. And they shouldn't even have to deal with this mess.
That's right. Exactly.
I mean, they shouldn't even have to deal with it.
Yeah. What grates me so hard is the Governor Beshear will get up on programs like The View or CNN and say, my faith tells me that I need to protect the transgender movement and all this stuff. And it's like, well, what about these children that are being put at risk by this stuff? I mean, who do your faith says you should protect the vulnerable in society, protect the little ones in society. Yeah. I mean, outside of just the immorality of just the LGBT movement in general, when you juxtapose it with the Christian worldview, but it's just the governor really needs to be called on this, and so stand strong when it comes to fighting his ideology on this stuff, because it is
Thank
it's
you
toxic
for doing
and
it.
evil.
As a woman, I just want to implore women, and especially the women that are in our state legislature. I know Lindsay Tishner has been wonderful, and many others. But but any woman that's there, you've got to defend us. I've never been. We are under assault, women. It's crazy. We're under assault. And by the way, your bill number is House Bill 539. I know you've got a lot on your plate. House Bill 539, the Sharia law one. Leadership. We want it on the floor. We want it voted. We want it, get it done before the end of the session. You guys can do it. It's so critically important. But for women, we've got to stand up for ourselves. There's so many things that are going on, but keep going. We'd love to hear more from you, Congressman.
Yeah,
See, I'm trying to do it too. Representative Wesley.
Both of those bills protect women. I mean, Sharia law.
Exactly.
It's basically oppressing women left and right.
And the transgender one.
And the transgender law protect women. So both of these are really so women need to step up and move the needle.
I need them.
Yes.
I need a voice myself. I'm trying to be a voice for people back home in Kentucky, in my district, but not just my district. It's the Commonwealth. Yeah, I'm a voice for the state of Kentucky, and I don't believe there's any women wants their privacy invaded by a grown man.
Right.
Especially our children or grandchildren. We are setting the stage for them in the next generation. And I'm going to be one that's going to be coming against all this nonsense that we're seeing right now, and to make a difference in our children's lives.
And I appreciate
well
it.
said, Bob.
I appreciate
If
it.
you have a thought.
No, I agree. I mean, this is really a woman issue, with regard to both these bills, the Bill Wesley, and not just Bill. There's over 20 total representatives that have already signed on to this. Interestingly enough, they're the more what I would call liberty-oriented, constitutional-oriented Republicans that have signed on and get it, and understand and why the leadership. And I'll say it, why the leadership in Frankfurt doesn't get this or see this is beyond me.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. And when I hear this on several issues, it's just not right, because every person that we've elected to represent us in our separate districts, our separate Senate areas, you represent us. It's our voice, Kentucky's voice. We
Bill,
want to be heard. And just because we're out here working our tails off every day, trying to make a living and take care of our families, the reason we elected you is because we thought and we believed that you shared our values and that we wouldn't have to babysit you to do the right thing. So when this type of a bill comes forward and we see the issue like, Bill Wesley has, Representative Wesley, good grief, that is a no-brainer. It should not even take very long. I don't even understand why it would take very long to get it passed, not when we have these beautiful supermajorities. I don't understand it. So please explain to us. I'm talking to our legislature right now. Please explain to me the moral reason why you would be holding this up.
Yeah, and let me piggyback on that, Bill, and I'm going to ask this question to you, and you may be careful how you respond to it, because you got to work with the leadership here. But we have a working theory here at this program that because we have such a majority in the state legislature and in the Senate, a supermajority, that very often leadership doesn't want to take any risk to lose that majority, and so they're very risk adverse. And so right at the moment we have the power to actually do some great things for the conservative cause, and for whatever, for Republicans, or for just American values for people. The leadership wants to play a conservative game, and we find ourselves having to fight the leadership to try to just do what we've elected them to do overwhelmingly. And so, do you see that? Is that something that Yeah.
So on that end, I can't speak on why.
Yeah.
I do know that they have an agenda they try to set out. They deal with thousands of bills, but I believe if we can talk to them and persuade them enough what the people really want this year, I believe that can add some things to their list of what they want to see get done.
All right.
And
that's
so,
well put.
Moral issues are critical. Moral issues dictate everything else. Moral issues dictate everything. So that is why your bills are so critically important.
Let's give that phone number again. It's for our listeners and viewers. 502
372.
Okay, here's the legislative line. 800-372-7181.
Yes.
Again, 800-372-7181. I just want to encourage every listener, every viewer of this program to light that line up and make your voice heard. It does play a significant difference as far as getting bills to the floor for vote.
That's right.
If I can add something real quick.
Yes, please.
On the ballot, the voting ballot for the state of Kentucky, Governor Abbott pushed for this to be heard from the people.
Wow.
That they would have a right to ban the Sharia law in the state of Texas. I mean, it's bigger than what people think. And so I believe this. We go by a scoring record here, say to put up guardrails in an area. Well, if there's been enough reports of wrecks, then that would bring enough reason why we need the guardrails. But on my perspective, my end, I'm trying to get guardrails in a position, in a place. I don't want to see deaths. I don't want to see people get hurt to get my scoring record up.
That's right.
I want to put something in place that I know it's dangerous. Something's coming.
That's exactly.
And so that's what my bills is trying to do, is put up guardrails to protect our people before it gets out of hand.
This stuff is
Brilliant.
coming. Texas is living it now. They've got whole cities being built that are dedicated to Islamic culture and Sharia, so they know that it's already too late. They've already had the accident. We're trying to prevent the accident. So well said, Representative Bill Wesley. So thank you for being on the show. Godspeed. Call those numbers, folks. Support his bills. 800-372-7181. And we'll be back on Kentucky's Voice tomorrow with the same crew with some great guests. And
Thank you.
make that call. We'll talk to you soon.